Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down my top 30 quarterback rankings for the 2025 fantasy football season, as well as all of the tiers that these top 30 quarterbacks sit in for this season. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you don't enjoy today's video, you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. It would also help me out a ton if you followed me on Twitter at NotoriousFantasy. And it is also important to note that these rankings are coming out in May. There's going to be a lot of information that comes our way June, July, and especially in August that can adjust things. So make sure that you guys understand that this is just kind of a early look into things. So without further ado, let's get into my top 30 quarterback rankings and tiers for the 2025 fantasy football season. We begin with the S tier at the quarterback position with my quarterbacks 1 through 4. At number 1, to lead things off here, we got Josh Allen, quarterback of the no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Now, last year, Josh Allen was the NFL MVP, and while I still do believe that it probably should have been Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen was definitely deserving of the award, right? He had a tremendous season. He was the quarterback 2 in fantasy football on the year and quarterback 2 in points per game. He played in all 17 games where he passed for over 3,700 passing yards, 14th at quarterback. He threw the 7th most passing touchdowns with 28 at a 5.8% rate, 7 interceptions. He had 102 carries, 4th for 531 rushing yards, 5th, and 12 rushing touchdowns, 2nd. The biggest thing that got him the MVP over Lamar Jackson was really the narrative that the Buffalo Bills didn't have a strong surrounding cast, right? It was like Josh Allen and this ragtag group of wide receivers, right? He doesn't have the A team out there, and Josh Allen was able to put that team on his back. Darren Sharper, hold my dick, right? And took that team deep into the playoffs. He was really, really solid last year, both for real life and in fantasy football. He was 3rd in fantasy points per dropback, 9th in yards per attempt, and 1st in QBR, right? I don't need to sit here and give the Gawk Gawk 9,000 special to all these quarterbacks inside the S tier and spend 10 minutes talking about each of them, right? We all know how good Josh Allen is, and despite the fact that the team didn't roll out the red carpet and bring in some new shiny toy to be the lead wide receiver on the team, Josh Allen is going to continue to put up big numbers. He is great at rushing the football, which is very important for fantasy football, and no one should be worried about Josh Allen entering into this year. Next up, we got Lamar Jackson, who is the rightful MVP, in my opinion, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Lamar was quarterback 1 last season in fantasy, quarterback 1 in points per game. He had the 16 most passing attempts, but despite that, was 6th in terms of passing yards with 4,172. He passed 41 total touchdowns, passing at an 8.6% rate. Number 2 at quarterback, only 4 interceptions, and he had 139 carries, 3rd, 915 yards, 1st, and 4 rushing touchdowns. It is important to understand that Lamar Jackson throwing 8.6% of the time he threw a touchdown is very high. 5% of the time is about normal, right? If a Josh Allen, if a Joe Burrow, if a Patrick Mahomes throws the ball 6% of the time for a touchdown, you're not like, oh, that's impossible for them to repeat, but 8.6% likely going to take a dip. But it really doesn't matter if that takes a dip if he still gets more rushing touchdowns than what he got last season, right? He only scored 4. If he ends up shooting that up to 8 or maybe even 10, I get they have Tractor Cito, Derrick Henry, but Lamar Jackson is an incredibly safe fit at the quarterback position for fantasy football. All 4 of these guys are very safe, in my opinion. Last year, he was 1st in true passer rating, 1st in yards per attempt, and 1st in fantasy points per dropback. At number 3, we got Jaden Stormy Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Now, Jaden Daniels came out of nowhere like an RKO from Randy Orton for a lot of fantasy players, right? There wasn't a lot of people banging the drum aggressively all offseason talking about Jaden Daniels, anyone whipping out the knee pads to suck the guy dry, metaphorically, of course. Now, I was someone that was a bit on the Jaden Daniels Express. I wasn't the conductor of the Jaden Daniels Express, but I did like him, and obviously, he completely beat out my expectations like Pee Wee Herman, right? quarterback 5 last season, quarterback 6 in points per game. 17 games played. He was 15th in pass attempts, 16th in passing yards, 10th in passing touchdowns. He had 9 interceptions, 25 passing touchdowns, 148 carries, second for 881 yards, second, and 6 rushing touchdowns, third. In fantasy football, rushing is paramount to success in your 4-point per passing touchdown league, in your 6-point per passing touchdown league. It isn't as important, but it still helps you out a ton. And Jaden Daniels in his rookie year put up these great numbers. I don't really project Jaden Daniels to be the kind of guy to take the back seat in his second year, to kind of fall off the edge of the earth, to fall off the wall like Humpty Dumpty. I really do expect Jaden Daniels to step up and play just as good, or maybe even better this season. They bring in Deebo Samuel, and while I'm far from a Deebo Samuel enjoyer, I'm not the biggest Deebo Samuel fan. I do think that helps out Jaden Daniels. He has Terry McLaurin. He has some options to throw the football to. He was 7th in true passer rating, 5th in EPA, 11th in accuracy rating, and 8th in red zone accuracy rating. Again, you should be confident in Jaden Daniels entering into this year. Next up, we got Jalen Stop It Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Quarterback number 8 last season, quarterback 5 in points per game, 15 games played. Now, Jalen Hurts is probably the biggest question mark inside the S tier, because there's talks of the tush push potentially getting banned. They're actually going to be voting on that today on Wednesday. So as I'm recording this video on Tuesday night, I really have no idea which way the vote is going to end up going. If the tush push is banned, you just have to drop him down, because the motherfucker scored 14 rushing touchdowns last season, and that's not going to happen without the tush push. Could he score 8? Of course, but 14 or maybe even more this year, right? He could potentially score more. Definitely seems a lot less likely if they ban the tush push. Quarterback 5 last year in points per game, 8 on the season. Jalen Hurts, understanding Jalen Hurts and why I like him in fantasy football is very simple. They have a great offensive line. They tush push with him. He has a lot of rushing upside, and he has A.J. Brown, and he has Devontae Smith. He is in a very, very, very good situation to succeed. Almost the perfect situation to succeed. So Jalen Hurts is in this range because of how safe he feels. Again, the quarterback passing stats aren't always the best, right? 22nd in pass attempts, 20th in passing yards, 20th in touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but it's the rushing upside, the rushing point that are taking him over the top. 9th in QBR, 10th in true passer rating, 8th in accuracy rating, and 4th in yards per attempt. Again, I don't want to just be like, oh, the reason why we like him is because of rushing upside, and he's just this fucking god-awful passer. He's not a terrible passer, but that's obviously why you want to draft him, because of the rushing upside. Next up, we move on into the A tier, and there's just one man in this tier, and that is going to be Mr. Joe Shiesty, quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. Quarterback 3 last season, quarterback 3 in points per game. Now, a lot of people say, Nick, he's not going to throw 652 times again, 38.4 times per game. He's not going to throw for 4,918 passing yards again, first at quarterback. 43 passing touchdowns at a 6.6% rate, first at quarterback. Now, Joe Burrow throwing 6.6% touchdowns. If he did that again, I wouldn't really be surprised. He's that good. 9 interceptions. He 42 carries, 201 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Joe Burrow, sure. From a year-on, year-out standpoint, how likely is it that a quarterback throws 650 plus times in back-to-back years? Probably not a super high rating, in my opinion. It's not super likely. But when it's Joe Burrow and let's be honest, let's call a spade, the defense is bad. The defense is really bad, and they didn't do the correct patchwork to fix it. Joe Burrow is in a great situation to succeed because the defense is so bad, and they're going to have to throw the ball a shit ton game in and game out. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. First in QBR, first in EPA, third in true passer rating, 6th in red zone accuracy rating. He has Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. So while Joe Burrow, I'm just a little bit more hesitant to rank him as high as the other guys because of his limited rushing upside. He definitely belongs at a tier above the rest. Next up, we move on into the B tier here, beginning with Baker Mayfield, quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Baker Mayfield loses offensive coordinator in 2024 last year, right? And people are like, oh my gosh, he's not going to be able to do it again. How could he possibly put up those great numbers again? You know what he does? He puts up the great numbers. Oh man, they lost their offensive coordinator again. What's Baker going to do in 2025? You know what this motherfucker is going to do? He's going to put up great numbers again. Baker Mayfield is a great quarterback. I don't care that he wears his hat backwards. I don't care that he grabs his nuts in celebration. I don't care what he does. The Browns royally fucked up getting rid of him for the massage man, Deshaun Watson. Baker Mayfield is here to stay. I understand that he's probably not going to throw 41 passing touchdowns again, right, at a 7.2% rate like last season, number 2 at quarterback, but he's going to throw the ball a ton. He was 5th in pass attempts. He was 3rd in passing yards. He was on his Jameis Winston a little bit. He threw 16 interceptions, but he also can run the ball a little bit. Sneaky good rusher, 60 carries for 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was 5th in true passer rating, 12th in QBR, 2nd in red zone accuracy rating. He was 1st in pressured catchable pass rate, meaning when he was pressured, when there's a bunch of men in his face, he was able to persevere like his name was Bonnie Blue and throw the ball up there, and it worked. 3rd in expected points added. They add another receiver. They already have Mike Evans. They already have Chris Godwin, who should be good to go early on in the season. Baker Mayfield again. Oh, he lost his offensive coordinator. People are going to get their panties in a bunch. They're going to stress. Don't worry at all about Baker Mayfield. He's continued to prove it as the Buccaneers starting quarterback. He simply is that guy. Next up, we got Big Dick Bo Nix, quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Quarterback, 8 in points per game, 7 last season. Bo Nix, he came even more out of nowhere than Jaden Daniels, right? Jaden Daniels, people were talking about the rushing upside, this, that, and the other thing. Bo Nix wasn't even really on anyone's radar. Sean Payton, it's like, oh my gosh, is this experiment failing? Is Sean Payton Fugazi? Is a Wazi? Is he a woozy? It didn't work with Mr. Unlimited. It's going to work with Bo Nix? Probably not. The wide receiver situation, to get rid of Jerry Jeudy, it's not looking great. And then Bo Nix just goes out there and plays really well. And especially down the stretch of the season, when the games start to matter, Bo Nix starts to put the fucking thing I was going to say put the keys in the ignition, but put the pedal to the metal. He was 6th in passing attempts. He was 12th in passing yards, 6th in passing touchdowns as a rookie at a 5.1% rate, which is very, 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 very repeatable. 12 interceptions, but he was 5th in carries, 8th in rushing yards, and he was 10th in total touchdown, or 10th in rushing touchdowns with 4. In terms of efficiency, sure, was he the most efficient quarterback? No, he was 18th in true passer rating, 17th in QBR, but he was 3rd in red zone accuracy rating with not the best red zone weapons, 2nd in accuracy rating, and 10th in fantasy points per drop back. 2nd year. I've been a Sean Payton believer for a long time. Sure, they don't have the best weapons out there, but Bo Nix was able to do a lot last season, and I think he's going to be able to put up a very similar season to what we saw last year, which is why he is ranked in a very similar spot. Final guy inside the B tier is going to be horsecock Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I already know there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section, Nick, the 49ers just paid Brock Purdy $1 million, gazillion dollars. That was stupid. Brock Purdy isn't good. This, that, and the other thing. Well, Brock Purdy has been really good in fantasy, regardless of what how good you think Brock Purdy is. And sure, Nick, Brock Purdy's he's a Avengers merchant, right? They have so many good receivers. He's a merchant. He's just a receivers merchant, right? And sure, they lost Deebo Samuel, but they still have Ayuk, who's going to be good to go potentially for the first week of the season. They have Jawan Jennings. They have Ricky Purcell. They have Christian McCaffrey, who should be good to go for week 1. And they have George Kittle. There's a lot of players that are very talented on this team. They have an incredibly easy schedule. Now, I'm not a strength of schedule meat glazer, right? I'm not a strength of schedule guy, because by week 5, you could take that strength of schedule and shove it right up your ass, jabroni, okay? You don't need to just straight up take that as the Bible, right? As the book you need, right? You don't need to just look at strength of schedule and be like, okay, because Brock Purdy has this great strength of schedule, he's going to be the QB1, right? That's probably not going to happen, but he's going to be very, very, very consistent. The S tier, those are the creme de la creme at the quarterback position, right? And if you don't get those guys, you're very happy with Burrow, right? Now we get into where there's a little bit more danger, right? Some people are a little scared of Baker, a little scared of Bo Nix, a little scared of Purdy, right? But these are all guys that I would be very happy with as my starting quarterback. I get they lose Deebo, but Brock Purdy is still very, very good again. Quarterback 13 on season, quarterback 10 in points per game. He was 17th in pass attempts, 10th in passing yards, 15th in passing touchdowns. Sure, he threw 12 interceptions, which isn't the best, but he's also sneaky good at rushing. 66 carries, 12th, 323 rushing yards, 11th, 5 rushing touchdowns, 7th. He was 6th in QBR, 14th in red zone accuracy rating, 30 yards per attempt, and 8th in fantasy points per drop back. Say what you want about Brock Purdy. Say he's not good. Chief Keef ain't this, Chief Keef ain't that, right? But Brock Purdy puts up fantasy points. I don't need to fucking sit over here and lie to you guys. Like, I'm not lying. Like, oh, he's so great, this, that, and the other thing. I don't need to lie. You just look at the fucking stats. He puts up good fantasy numbers. Kyle Shanahan, who might be a fraud in the playoffs, is great in the regular season. Now we move on into the C tier here, headlined by Patrick Mahomes, who got some brand new weapons in the offseason. And we ain't talking about any new receivers on the team. We're talking about Brittany Mahomes' massive tatas that she just recently received. Those things are not stock even remotely, but that's okay, Patrick. I respect it. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes, and shout out to his wife, because his wife does get a lot of shit. She seems kind of annoying, but she does got some massive honkers. Quarterback 12 last season, quarterback 11 in points per game for Patrick Mahomes, right? If you had Patrick Mahomes last season, it felt like you got fucked, and it didn't feel like a nice, like, you know, you ever watched, like, you know, 50 Shades of Grey? I guess that's not really the nicest stuff, but, you know, they're nice and sensual, right? This was like a straight up jackhammering in the ass you took from Patrick Mahomes, metaphorically, of course, right? He had 581 passing attempts, third at quarterback. He threw for the 7th most passing yards, but he only threw for 26 touchdowns. He threw 11 interceptions, and the rushing wasn't really the best. 58 carries, 307 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. He was 7th in QBR, 7th in EPA, 4th red zone accuracy rating, and 26th in yards per attempt. The offense just didn't look right. Something looked messed up. Rashee Rice should be good to go for the start of the season as long as he doesn't get suspended. They have Xavier Worthy. They have Travis Kelce, who we're going to talk about in the tight end rankings video, but there was recently some body parts found near Taylor Swift's house. Not saying Taylor Swift murked someone. Of course, I would never say something like that, but, you know, maybe that's some indication that, you know, she's doing some gypsy witchcraft here. Travis Kelce's going to have a great season. I digress, though. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Don't sue me, Taylor Swift. Patrick Mahomes was not the best last season. I get it. He crumbled in the Super Bowl like one of those cookies. But when push comes to shove, Patrick Mahomes is a reliable top 12 quarterback week in and week out. And I think he'll be able to put up better offensive production this year. I'm just not ready to quit on Mr. Mahomey just yet. Next up, we got the Goffinator. Jared Goff, get to the chopper. Do it now, of the Detroit Lions. But before we talk about the Goffinator and the rest of the quarterbacks in the C tier, then the D tier, then the E tier, then the F tier, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends, our partner over at Underdog. If you're new to Underdog, sign up using promo code Notorious. You will get a free pick plus a deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. You can match your pick of SGA higher than half of a total point tonight with another pick not on the OKC Thunder. And if both of your picks hit, you will get around 3 times what you put in your pick. And if you do multiple other picks, then the payout will be higher. Obviously, all the picks have to hit for you to get paid out in that scenario. Also, Underdog is home to the best ball drafts for fantasy football. I love doing best ball drafts. They have super high payouts. Best Ball Mania is my favorite contest to play, and it's super fun. And if you don't want to throw out $25 every single draft, they have smaller contests as well, $3, $5 drafts as well. And Best Ball is the best way to practice for fantasy football. Why? Because when you enter a mock draft on some of these other websites, no one really cares. Someone might take a kicker in the first round, but over at Underdog, it's a real draft for real money. People are taking things seriously, and you can see actual trends of where players are moving up and down. So make sure you guys check that out. Underdog is Best Ball. If you don't know what Best Ball is, real quick, it is the best part about fantasy football. It's the draft. That's it. There's no waivers, no trades, no in-season management. All you got to do is draft your team, and that is it. And you can track it throughout the rest of the season. So make sure you guys check that out. Promo code Notorious, or click on the link in the video description for your free pick plus a first deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So back on into things here. We got Jared Goff. Now, I've been a Jared Goff guy for a long time. I've been a Jared Goff truther, and he keeps putting up good numbers. Now, his schedule last year was probably, you know, it was really good. He barely, you know, he did the Matrix move. He evaded the environment, right? He didn't have to go play in the cold. You know, when you go outside and your nipples get a little bit hard, right? He didn't have to play in that weather. He got to play, you know, in the nice dome of Detroit, right? He played a lot of inside games, and that was benefit to him, right? Quarterback 6 last season, 7 in points per game. Jared Goff is not the sexiest quarterback to roll out every single week, right? He's never going to go out there, break a DB's ankles, hurdle over someone backwards like Saquon Barkley. You're not going to be seeing very many Jared Goff tush pushes, but Jared Goff's a guy with a loaded offensive line, a bunch of talented receivers, a great tight end, 2 great running backs. He's in the perfect situation to succeed. Say what you want about Jared Goff. He sucks, this, that, and the other thing, but he puts up good numbers. He put up over 4,600 passing yards last year. He threw 37 passing touchdowns, 4th at quarterback, 12th in terms of interceptions, 35 carries, 56 rushing yards, sure, no touchdowns, but he was 2nd in true passer rating, 5th in QBR, 2nd in EPA, 5th in red zone rating, 6th in accuracy rating, and 3rd in true completion percentage. Again, you can dislike Goff, this, that, and the other thing, but all Goff does is put up reliable fantasy numbers as a top 12 guy most weeks. Next up, we got Dak Prescott, Dakota Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, last year went tits up for Dak Prescott, right? He missed the final 9 games of the season with the hamstring tear, and obviously that is not good. His production when he was healthy wasn't the best either. He threw 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He wasn't running as much as we're kind of came accustomed to. 13 carries in 8 games for 54 yards and a touchdown. And the efficiency stats were bad. They were not just bad, they were actually dreadful, I would say. I wouldn't even say bad, because bad is better than what this motherfucker was doing. He was 34th in true pass rating, 28th in QBR, and 30th in red zone accuracy rating. But Dak Prescott's a guy where what I want to do is just do the Men in Black move where you put the thing up to your eyes and it zaps your memory, right? You forget about what happened last season because Dak Prescott is basically always a top 12 quarterback. Again, he's not a super sexy quarterback. He's not going to do any of those crazy rushing things, more than likely. He's not even going to throw for, he's not going to set some crazy records in terms of passing, but they have George Pickens. They have CeeDee Lamb. They have a solid team for Dak Prescott. So as long as he's fully healthy and we're not seeing any crazy setbacks, this is a guy that could easily finish inside the top 12. At number 12, we have Justin Fields of the New York Jumbo Jets. 10 games played, 6 total starts. It was, it was fun to watch him last season. He definitely had a decent amount of upside because in 6 starts, he had 5 rushing touchdowns, 5 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception, 161 passing attempts, 1,106 passing yards. He had 289 rushing yards. He doesn't qualify for any, or most of, I would say, the efficiency stats. So we're going to throw the efficiency out the window. Look, do I think Justin Fields is the savior of the New York Jets franchise? No. Do I think that Justin Fields is a competent quarterback? Yes. Do I think that Justin Fields can succeed with the wide receiver room that the Jets have? Probably fine enough for him. Again, it's not the top of the league. They don't have Devontae Adams anymore, but they still have Garrett Wilson, right? Justin Fields has a great rushing pedigree. Again, rushing is very important in fantasy football. Sure, maybe the other guys ahead of him like Dak or Goff or Mahomes are much safer on a week in, week out basis, but I think Justin Fields has a load of upside. Next up, we got Kyler Murray, quarterback 10 last season, 12 points per game. Now, if you had Kyler last season, if you were with me, you were banging the drum for Kyler Murray, you were talking up Kyler Murray, and you drafted him. Did he completely do you dirty? No, it's not like you're watching like a UFC fight and the guy gets poked in the eye and then 3 seconds later he takes a crotch shot that could send anyone straight to the hospital, but the other guy just somehow was able to fall over and then get back up, right? Of course, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't smooth sailing for Kyler Murray, and based upon what Kyler Murray has done in his career, which has put up good numbers for fantasy football because of his rushing upside, and because he has Trey McBride, and because he has Maserati Marv, I do believe that there are brighter days ahead for Kyler Murray. Some people may just be all out based upon what they saw last season. They kind of have the blinders on based upon, hey, he fucked me over last season, but he's played better before. He was 13th in true passer rating, 8th in QBR, 16th in red zone accuracy rating. He was 9th in pass attempts, 11th in passing yards, 13th in passing touchdowns. He had 11 interceptions, 8th in carries, 4th in rushing yards, and 7th in rushing touchdowns. I don't think I have the cojones to rank him inside the top 12 right now, but he's just barely there. And most weeks, he's just barely almost there. He's 13, and there's going to be a lot of weeks in the season where he is ranked inside the top 12. And this is all a tier of guys like, again, Josh Allen, all those guys in this tier, those are the best guys. If you don't get them, you're very happy with Burrow. If you don't get Burrow, it's like, okay, there's definitely a fall off here, but Baker, Bo Nix, Purdy, it's okay. And then you get into the tier where it's like the low-end quarterback one here, and we've got 2 other guys in this list, and they're both sophomore quarterbacks. We got Caleb Williams as well as Drizzy Drake May. Now, when it comes to Caleb Williams, last year was not a great showing as a rookie, right? There were a lot of trials and tribulations, and despite the fact that he had Rome Odunze, wiki, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen, he never really was able to put things together. Now, could it be because of the Stooge head coach? Yes, the offense not really fluctuating correctly, and could it also be because we put too much hype on him? And while he actually wasn't that bad last season, we had such sky-high expectations that because he didn't live up to those expectations, we were disappointed. It's probably a bunch of different factors like that, right? For one, the coaching wasn't great, and for two, we did have really, really high expectations of him, and he didn't really put up the great numbers, but he was dealing with a lot of drops. The team was 6th most in terms of drops for any quarterback. The passing attempts were there. He threw 20 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has some rushing upside, 82 carries, 7th, 483 rushing yards, 7th. So the skill is there. Like, we know Caleb is a great quarterback. Can Ben Johnson unlock him in the second year is really the question. I think the offensive line is still, to me, definitely a question. Like, the offensive line was really a turnstile last season. I think Caleb Williams is good, but again, I don't want to rank him higher than this yet because we haven't really seen enough out of him to put him higher. And frankly, if you're like, Nick, Caleb and May belong in the D tier, I wouldn't argue with you on that, right? We could, it's May. We talked about it right off the rip of the video. These rankings are fluid. Things are going to change by the time we get to the end of, August. There's going to be more reports. We might see some stuff and it's like, okay, be wheels up on Caleb. We might say, hey, Caleb's struggling in camp, this, that, and the other thing. You might want to worry, right? Drizzy Drake May of the New England Deflatriots, quarterback, 22 last season, 28 points per game. Terrible mismanagement of Drake May, frankly, last season. I have no fucking idea why you would ever start Jacoby Brissett over him. And that really kind of does put a stunt into his development, right? Why not just let him go right out the rip? What's Jacoby Brissett going to teach this guy? If we're being completely honest with you, Drake May, sneaky good rusher, 16th in carries, 421 rushing yards, 9th, and he had 2 touchdowns, 14th. QBR, 16th, 17th in terms of fantasy points per dropback. Again, 15 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I want, as a Dolphins fan, Drake May to be terrible. I want Drake May to be so bad. It's like Mac Jones 2.0, and I'm laughing, ha, 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 you're never going to be good again. This team sucks. I want Vrabel to be a complete and utter disaster. But just because I want that to happen doesn't mean that's going to happen. I think Drake May is very talented. I thought that coming out of college. And I think that Vrabel's going to really help out this team. Stephon Diggs, the addition of him is great. We'll kind of see how Stephon Diggs flows with this offense, but because of the rushing upside, I do think Drake May belongs up here for now. Next up, we move on into the D tier, and this is kind of the tier where it's like more of, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, you're definitely much more accepting of having to start this guy as your quarterback 2. Probably don't want these guys as your quarterback 1, if I am being completely honest. And I hope that with Superflex leagues becoming more and more popular over the years, one of my main leagues is a Superflex league. So that should tell you, hey, even though my friends aren't the biggest fan, like, they all watch football, they're not making videos like me, right? They're not all over football. They don't really give a shit what's happening in May. Sometimes I text them something that I think is interesting and they don't give a fuck, right? But, and this is a big but, shout out to, I was going to shout out Violet Myers. We shouted her out last video. Shout out to Riley Reed. This is becoming more and more popular, so I really do think that people actually care when I talk about some of these quarterbacks a little bit later. So Jordan Love, much more of a quarterback 2 for me. Quarterback 17 last season, 17 points per game. I like Jordan Love. The rushing upside wasn't really there because he did sprain his MCL, so maybe the rushing upside increases, but I don't think we ever really think Jordan Love is like some crazy rusher. I think this is a team that's devoid of a wide receiver 1. I know they drafted Matthew Golden, but I don't think he's like the golden child of this team, right? I don't think he's like necessarily like the locked and loaded wide receiver 1. They kind of have wide receiver 1 by committee. They have Jaden Riley Reed. They have all these other pieces, Romeo Dobbs. So they're fine at receiver, but they don't really have that true alpha guy that Jordan Love can just close his eyes and throw to, right? Like Jamar Chase for Burrow, right? CeeDee Lamb for Dak, right? There's some of these guys like Jaden Daniels, close your eyes, throw it to fucking Terry, right? Josh Allen doesn't really have that. Lamar, close your eyes, throw to Mark Andrews. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Love's kind of devoid of that, but he was 4th in QBR last year. He was 14th in true passer rating. I think him getting hurt kind of made his ranking not be as high. I do think he's fine, but again, I don't think anyone's really clamoring to Jordan Love as like their must-have quarterback of the year. Next up, we got Trevor Lawrence T-Law of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Trevor Lawrence has been a guy that really has let me down as an NFL player, right? He was this guy, touchdown Jesus in Clemson. Everyone loves Trevor Lawrence. He is the next up-and-coming quarterback in the National Football League. He's the next Andrew Luck. He's the next generational prospect, and he hasn't lived up to that. But I do believe that you could attribute, hey, the fact that fucking Urban Meyer's dumbass was the head coach, right? The fact that they've had some stooges in there at the quarterback position, or at the head coach position, maybe things are able to change with the new head coach, right? Duval, right? Maybe he is able to fix it all. He had Baker cooking last year. Again, the stats aren't the best for Trevor Lawrence. I do have a soft spot for him because he won me $5,000 playing DFS a couple years ago. So shout out to Trevor Lawrence. The rushing upside really isn't there. He just hasn't been great, but they have bdge now, who's really fucking good. Spoiler alert, that guy's really good. Now they also draft Travis Hunter. Come on, they bring in a new coach for you, Trevor. This is finally your year to figure it out, Trevor. Hopefully he can do it. Next up, we got Justin Herbert, the pervert of the LA Chargers, quarterback 11 last season, 13 in points per game. I know he was throwing the ball around 30 times a game. This does, to me, seem like a team, John Harbaugh, they want to run, or is it Jim? Fuck, which one is it? I hate that I can never remember which is which, and I'm going to just look it up right now. Jim Harbaugh. It's Jim. John's the one on the Ravens. Nick, you idiot, how do you not know that? Because they have the same last name, and it's May, so sometimes I confuse those things, right? When I see them on the sideline, I'll know their name, right? But Justin Herbert, the pervert, I think this is a team that wants to run the ball. This is a team that outside of Ladd, like the wide receiver room isn't the best. Justin Herbert's a really good fucking quarterback. 23 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Sneaky good rusher, 69 carries. Very nice, I like. 9th, 306 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. 8th in true pass rating, 10th in QBR, 6th in drops. He just kind of feels like the guy that's going to be quarterback 13 through 18 most weeks, and that's kind of what gets him down here. Again, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, you're excited about him. In a 1-quarterback league, not a guy I'm really targeting. Next up, we got CJ Stroud, quarterback of the Houston Texans. Quarterback 18 last season, 31 in points per game. I mean, what a sophomore slump that was. Everyone was just fucking literally gargling on this guy's nuts. They were the jacuzzi in this dude's nutsack. They were just playing with his nuts like a fushigi. Everyone was hyping him up, me included, and it did not work even remotely well. They had Tank Dell, they had Stephon Diggs, they had Nico Collins. The injury bug, the jitter bug, got them hard. CJ Stroud, only 3,727 passing yards, like, isn't bad, but 20 touchdowns, only 3.8% rate, 12 interceptions. No rushing touchdowns, but again, he was still good, like 5th in accuracy rating, 4th in drops, 5th in accuracy rating again. I don't know why I wrote that fucking stat down twice, and 13th in red zone accuracy rating. So, like, again, he's still fine, but no Tank Dell. Diggs is in Foxborough. I love Nico Cousin. Let's go Bowling Collins. But, you know, when you kind of fuck up, and then you lose some players around you, I don't think I'm really as excited about CJ Stroud. Next up, we got the 2 unks in the D tier, Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders and Matthew Stafford of the LA Rams. Geno Smith was fine last year in Seattle, quarterback 16 in points per game. Let's see how the Raiders do. They got Pete Carroll. You hear him chewing the fucking gum just in my head. It's just always when I think of Pete Carroll, that's what I think of. I also think about not running the ball on the goal line with beast mode. 578 passing attempts last year, 4th. He was 4th in passing yards, 13th in passing touchdowns, 15th in interceptions, 17th in carries, 16th in rushing yards, 14th in touchdowns for rushing. He was 10th in accuracy rating, 5th in true completion percentage, 3rd in deep ball completion percentage, and 13th in yards per attempt. I want to say that this is like a better spot than Seattle. But Seattle had DK, JSN, and Lockett. Las Vegas has Jacoby Myers. They got Jack Besh. They've got Brock Bowers. They got Ashton Genty. They've got Trey Tucker, the fucker. You know, they've got some other guys, but it doesn't really feel like that great of a situation. Like, I think the Raiders are going to be like an average offense. And I just think if Geno isn't throwing the ball, like if he's throwing the ball less than 34 times a game, which I would project, I think they're really going to want to rely on Genty and I think Geno is just going to end up being kind of one of these guys that, again, it's like he's your fine quarterback two in a 2 quarterback league, but you're not like, unless your quarterback gets hurt, you're not really looking to Geno most weeks, in my opinion. Next up, we got Matthew Stafford. I like Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford is a really good real life quarterback, but kind of a mid fantasy quarterback. What I mean by that is if your team was down, right? You're down 4. There's 2 minutes to go. You're at the 50-yard line. You need to get into the fucking end zone. Who do you trust to get you into the end zone? I trust Matthew Stafford. I love Matthew Stafford in that scenario. But do I trust Matthew Stafford for fantasy? No, because he's not really, like, the offense isn't designed for Stafford to go out there and throw 40 times. It's not designed for Matthew Stafford to go absolutely fucking bananas every single game. Matthew Stafford's an unk. He's not going to be running the ball. He was 11th in quarterback rating, 19th in accuracy rating, 16th in EPA, 9th in deep ball accuracy rating. Is he good enough to take the Rams to the Super Bowl? Yes. But again, it's always important to understand that just because you're a great real life quarterback, that doesn't always transcend to actually being a great fantasy football quarterback. Next up, we got the E tier headline by my main man, Tua. Turn the ball over. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua hopefully going to tongue the defenses down in the NFL this year. My main man, Tua of the Miami Dolphins. Shout out to Tua. Quarterback 14 last year in points per game, 21 last season. Wasn't good. No bueno. He missed 5 games with a concussion and the final 2 games with the hip injury. And frankly, that hip injury was probably caused by fucking me directly in the ass for getting hurt and not being able to be in the playoffs so that the Dolphins can make the playoffs. I get so mad because I think Tua really has it. I think Tua possesses that great, like, sure, does he have like this cannon attached to his left arm? Is he the left hand? Does he have like a fucking nuclear warhead, Kim Jong-un, coming off the left arm? No, but he makes great decisions. He throws the ball into tight windows. He throws the ball into keyholes. He has great anticipation, meaning that he's not even looking at you. He just knows where you're going to be. He's going to throw you the ball. He says, fuck it, Tyreek's up there somewhere, right? He does all these great things, but the problem is he just always gets hurt, and he always makes these stupid decisions that lead to him getting hurt. Hey, let me hold the ball for 5,000 seconds instead of getting rid of the ball so I get plowed. So I get fucked behind the offensive line, right? That's what Tua Tagovailoa does. He holds the ball for too long sometimes, and it screws you over if you have him in fantasy. He is injury prone. I love Tua. He's another one of these guys that's better in real life than he is for fantasy. I hope he stops running the ball, but you already know he's going to do that, which caused his hip injury. This isn't a Nick get mad at Tua, because I do love Tua, and I do trust him to, if he could stay healthy, to lead the Dolphins, hopefully just to the playoffs. I think that's as far as they'll probably make it, but, you know, he's first in red zone accuracy, first in true completion percentage. I believe in the guy. But when you can't run the ball and when you get hurt as often as Tua, how can I rank you higher? Next up, we've got the midget, the short king, Bryce Young, the Peter Dinklage of the NFL, Carolina Panthers quarterback, Bryce Young, quarterback 10 last season, quarterback 27 in points per game, got benched for the Red Rifle, comes back and has this transcending experience where he plays a lot better. They draft Ted McMillan. They have Xavier, somebody touch my Leggett. They have Adam Thielen. They have these pieces. They've got Chuba. They've got, you might just get hit with the Rico Meek Millie Dowdle. They have the players. Another year of Bryce Young. He, again, just feels like a quarterback, too. Again, I just don't see this offense. Even if Bryce Young plays his best, I just don't feel like this is a team that can really transcend to Bryce Young being a superstar for fantasy. But again, he's in that, like, quarterback 2 range where, again, I don't like him as much as the guys in the D tier, but it's not like the bottom of the barrel yet. Next up, we got J.J. McCarthy. Now, there's really not much to say about J.J. McCarthy. I think Sam Darnold is better than him. So I think we get a down, like, less good quarterback play from J.J. McCarthy. There's the Jordan Addison situation where he could get suspended. He could get hit with the sussy. They've got Justin Jefferson. Did I say Justin Jefferson suspended? I meant Jordan Addison. I hope I said that correctly. Jordan Addison, right? The coaching situation there is really good. Kevin O'Connell's a genius. Like, I think Kevin O'Connell's kind of like one of those quarterback whisperers, and not like some Fugazi quarterback whisperer like you hear all the time. Like, oh, this guy's a quarterback whisperer, whisper. Right? He's doing ASMR in the quarterback's ear. And like Adam Gase, right? And then Adam Gase fucking sucks, right? So I think J.J. McCarthy, like, he's in a really good situation to succeed. I just have to see it, right? We just have to see it. And when you're coming off of a meniscus injury, like, why fully dive in and rank him super highly, right? This is a guy you're going to probably pick up off the waiver wire. That's really, I'm going to be honest, like, he looked good in the preseason game, 11 of 17 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. We've seen guys look good in preseason and not look good during the season. So again, preseason isn't the biggest teller. Obviously, he was great at Michigan, though. Next up, we got Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check. Currently not on a team. My best guess is he is a Steeler. If he's not, I don't know what fucking team would go to the Vikings, fulfill the prophecy of Brett Favre, and then he's going to have to send a picture of his cock on the phone, and that's going to have to get leaked. Quarterback 15 last season, 20 points per game. Look, I think Aaron Rodgers still has it. Like, he's still a good quarterback, but he's not the same guy he used to be. He dealt with 27 drops last season, though, second at quarterback. He was 4th in deep ball accuracy, 28 passing touchdowns, 7th, 11 interceptions. I think he probably puts up similar numbers to last year, but probably worse because I don't think the receiver position is as talented as what he had last year. So that's kind of just how I get to this ranking. Final guy inside the E tier is Michael Penix Jr. of the hot Atlanta Falcons. Quarterback 48 last season, 49 in points per game. This is a guy that has a cannon for an arm. He doesn't fill any efficiency metrics because he didn't play enough games. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 105 passing attempts for 775 yards. There's a lot of unknown with Michael Penix. There was a lot of discussion of, is this a good pick? Is this a bad pick? Like when the Falcons picked him, a lot of people said that was a shitty pick. We'll see. I think the upside is there. The offensive skill position players are there. It's just really how good is he is just a humongous question mark. And I kind of have seen a lot of people in the past kind of suck off Michael Penix's rushing upside. He only rushed 7 times last year for 11 yards, so we kind of need to hold our horses on that. Final tier here is going to be the F tier. We're just going to breeze through these guys. Anthony Richardson, Cameron Ward, and then Sam Darnold. And then there's a tier lower than this where you kind of just have the other guys, which would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the G tier, like a G6. Russell Wilson, Tyler Shuck, Joe Flacco. So again, if you're down in this tier, you're pretty down bad in my opinion. I am not ready to quit Anthony Richardson yet, even though Anthony Richardson did quit on himself last season, which is what led to the starting of cool Joe Flacco. I believe in Shane Steichen, and I believe in Anthony Richardson, and I think they have good receivers, but again, like, how many times does he have to fail and fuck up and just look like shit before it ultimately just ends, right? 1st in air yards per attempt, 5th in fantasy points per drop back. The guy's also injury prone too. That really scares me. I kind of put all the chips in on him last year. I put all my eggs in the Anthony Richardson basket and those eggs exploded, right? So I still think he's got it, but again, like, why trust him? And then Cam Ward, I like Cam Ward a lot. He plays for my Miami Hurricanes. It's all about the U. Nick, you didn't go to Miami. You went to a small school in New Jersey. I know, but I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. Have been since I was a kid. If I went to like Rutgers, which I didn't go to, I would be a Rutgers fan. That's just kind of how it is. But my school plays D3 football, and I'm not watching that. Ain't nobody got time for that. 13 games at Miami last season for Cameron Ward. 454 passing yards. 454 passing yards. 454 passing attempts. 3,113 passing yards. 3,313 passing yards. 67.2% completion percentage. 39 passing touchdowns. 7 INTs. 60 rushes for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think he even caught a touchdown last season, if my memory serves me correct. I think this guy could save the Titans. I don't think he's going to be a great fantasy quarterback because they just don't have enough options there. This isn't a team that I project to really turn things all around in 1 year, which just kind of leads Cam Ward to be kind of left in the dust. Sam Darnold, I think Sam Darnold's fine, but I just don't really see him succeeding here in Seattle in a huge way. He was quarterback 9 last season, quarterback 90 points per game. This is a Seattle team that lost DK. This is a Seattle team that lost Tyler Lockett. Sure, they've got JSN. I think JSN's going to have a fine season, but I just think Sam Darnold was such a big benefactor of Kevin O'Connell. And Kevin O'Connell was whispering sweet nothings into his ear. He was able to figure it out. And then without Kevin O'Connell, I just don't see it working. Again, he was good last year. 8th in passing attempts, 5th in passing yards, 5th in passing touchdowns, 12th in interceptions. Sneaky, okay rushing, 212 rushing yards, 67 rushes, 1 touchdown. 9th in true passer rating, 13th in QBR. He was 8th in EPA, 16th in accuracy rating, 1st in deep ball completion percentage. Like, in terms of safety, like, he's probably safer than Ward and Richardson. He's probably safer than Penix, McCarthy, Bryce, Tua, Rodgers. But what's the upside in Seattle? not really seeing it. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Make sure you guys do check out the Underdog free pick. If you're a new customer using promo code Notorious, you get that free pick plus a first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your guys' day, and make sure to check out one of these videos on your screen if you haven't seen them already. I love you guys more than you ever know. Hope you have a great one, and as always, good boy.